Thank you very much, Riork, for inviting me second time to have a talk. And I think it's a great venue to share, especially from yesterday. I found a lot of interesting talks from many different teams. And so what's I'm thinking to share with you? It's more about product or bit of everything. Even though the title says that price personalization, and we all somehow have some project in these days within personalization. So it's nothing new on that sense. But at the same time, a lot of things is here to learn, I think. So yeah, so like said, I came from Norway, and I represent the brand Varner here. So what is Varner? Varner is like one of the biggest Nordic fashion retailer. It's been quite a long journey for them. It's actually started in 1963 with one store in central Oslo. It's called Grønalukka, the place. And then it's started to grow. And now it's actually run by the first generation of the family, Varner brothers, the son of Varner, Frank Varner. So it's a kind of organizations that have their own values, which is really driven towards customer. And they're quite big in Nordic market. We well represented in Sweden, Finland, Iceland, as well as Norway for sure. So what kind of brands we have? We have Kubus, we have Dressman, we have Big Bock, we have Carlings, and all these brands have a different kind of specialty. Some is very woman-focused, some male-focused. For example, Dressman is for men with 30 to 30-plus age as their main segment, thinking that like the men who go for different places for work. But at the same time, for youngs like below 30 or things so like that, in those segments, we have another brand called Bolt. So that's like different segment for the different purposes, and more or less like all pretty popular within their customer segments. So get back to the talk. So what we do, we try to make a brand that customer really like about or think about or be obsessed. That's like kind of the thought, right? When you work, whatever we do with the data or whatever we do with AI product, one thing that we all have our mind is to make sure that the things, the works that we are putting forward, that creates a better brand, a better customer experience. And when we are talking about it in this time, it's all about people talking about personalization. But what's it's mean in other sense. It can be like to do really clear communications that customer feels like worthy to read about, to think about, as well as things that gives some sort of value, some sort of information so that they appreciate. So on that note, what you can think about good communication strategy towards customer, that you do communicate, you make sure that it's worthy, and well as you make sure that it well perceived or well received. So we all talking about here personalization. So what's in that context? What in that kind of settings you think that where we fit? Data professionals, that could be data scientist, a data engineer. So what kind of enabler? So we're enabling that kind of of experience towards our customer. So we discover, okay, fine, what's interesting, what not interesting, for whom it is interesting, we try to measure, and we try to react. So that's all about, if we think in general. Now, from a broader perspective, when you think about retailer as an industry, so what they consider, like 5 E's. I was reading this book, and I find it really interesting. They talk about excitement, engagement, experience, education, and then when you try to connect it with business, you will say how you want to excite a person if you don't put exciting product for them, exciting information. So it's then you can see that, okay, fine. In a granular level, all E's can be achieved through personalization, except entrepreneurial. Of course, you have to be entrepreneurial to embrace those things. Yes. So what we try to understand so far, that personalization is important, as well as it might be one of the important role from a data science team or a AI team to enable within organization. Now, personalization is a huge topic. It's a big, and you can think about many different dimensions to enable it. So in, I guess, 2020 or 2019, I was talking at Reorg about product personalizations. So how you personalized product towards your communications for the customers. So what we do, we try to work with our loyalty team and try to see how they communicate with their customers and okay, find how we can make it one-to-one. So that was like our first move towards the personalization. Then e-com personalization is not something new. Like most of the e-com try to personalize the storefront based on some sort of cookie, based on some sort of on-click behavior. But when you try to see it even more, like their CRM data, there is historical data. When a customer log into your site, then you might have even more opportunities to personalize. So that kind of product personalization we try to developing. And then the third one is like price personalization. And price means that more or less all the retailer need to sell product. And product has like their regular routine, like a regular fashion, fashion cycle. So you need to sell this product from this week, within that week, and sometimes you being successful, sometimes you fail. So what you do, you in general put things on discount. And that's not fun, right? Because the season is already over, people don't like that product any longer or don't need that product any longer, but still you are actually making a lot of offers within like a short period of time. So it's not, it's a good from getting rid of the product, but it's not good from a customer experience point of view. Because they can get discount, but they don't need that product at that particular point of time. So it's like a lot of things that you can do from an experience improvement point of view. Now, it's not only like your wish that, okay, fine, you want to do it just because you want to do it, but also like latest changes in EU regulations when you have like some sort of new ways of pricing policy. What does it mean? So that you have like more transparency. You need to have more transparency towards your pricing. You don't change your prices on e-coms just like you want to, and you show like 30%, 40% discounts. You always need to make sure that you have a baseline price and you put that price on front and everyone understand it, interpret it in the right way. So meaning that the way we used to do campaign, for example, that today this campaign, tomorrow another campaign, day after tomorrow another campaign, you will hit by new regulations where you will have more control. And if you are not compliant with that, what is the consequences? The consequences is same like GDPR. So the fine is so big that you must have to do it. So this is one thing. But at the same time, the regulators, they understand that you need to sell product, and you have different type of customers that really have different needs. So on that note, when you are trying to approach to your like loyalty members, loyalty customers, then you can approach them discounted products based on, okay, fine, birthday offer or this offer, that offer. So you can do personalizations in pricing, but in a different way, following regulations and following. So that's like a new way of, so traditional campaign will be traditional, but at the same time, there will be a lot of controls. So before jumping that how we are solving the problem with the price personalizations, what we try to understand is that, okay, fine, how customer purchase. For example, you have a concept, you have a brand, and you sell product over the year. So you will see that, okay, fine, in a month like January, some products are really interesting. February, some other, March, others. So in this way, you can try to understand actually what fit when. And on that note, you can, yeah, good. Just need to get back. Yeah. Yes. So on that note, if you put a customer, so like I said, putting customers always front is a good idea. So think about a person now, how we want to sell our product. So let's say that this is a customer. In February, he bought a T-shirt. In March, jeans, and May, trousers, for example. And that's his like buying so far. Now, what you want to achieve, for example. You can think about that in May, you wanted to sell him T-shirt. In July, you can, or September, sell a jeans. So in a way, you can actually try to figure out that with this timing, what is the best product as in general, customer really like to buy, rather than thinking about, we have a heavy stock on this particular group of product and we just need to get rid of. Not like that way. You try to figure out that what's you want to achieve and what's really matter for your customer. So if that works, for example, then if your sales, let's say, target from a CLV perspective on that customer, for example, 3,300 NOK, you might even go beyond your normal expectations. So meaning over here is to how customer-centric you can be and what kind of offer and what kind of discount, whatever you want to open up or when it's very interesting from a customer perspective. Now, when we're trying to talk about personalized pricing, you can actually focus on two different dimensions. One on a customer level, like putting that particular customer's in picture. Another is product level. So why both is important? Because it's like a customer is excited about the right product, about the right timing, with the right price. Product is very important from a business perspective, because if you can actually figuring out which product you need to take some extra help to make sure that it's not going to be end up as a problem at the end of the season, then you can actually try to make some sense out of it. So that's why this two approach towards personalization in pricing is important. Now, when you're talking about the personal level, what we're trying here to figuring out, let's say that this person ordered the most exciting product at this period of time for this person, and what would be the right personalized discount cap. So that's kind of the objective. So figuring out the right product combinations as well as discover right discount cap. When it comes to product, figuring out what are the product that needs to really help, because you have a buying cycle and selling cycle. Both need to work together. And so if you see that some of the product is actually failing towards the sales target, then you can actually put what kind of treatment you want to do. But still, you can be very, very, very targeted in a sense that then you try to figuring out that these jeans, what are the right segment to make offer. And when you're making offer for the right segment, then you can also figuring out what are the right discount for each of the segments. So what we're building a fast MVP within the organizations to realize both personalized pricing as well as segmented pricing. Now, how the architecture will look like from a product perspective. It's a kind of combinations with the other data science product that we built so far. For example, in the left, you see that price elasticity, where we use a data science model to figuring out what are the product that is price elastic, meaning that when you do some sort of pricing, discounting, what are the product that becomes successful. So that's one element. Then the second element is like in-season forecasting. In the morning, those who are here in the fast talk about TFT. So in season forecasting, we try to use TFT algorithm to figuring out what are the products that are not performing according to your sales plan, and I try to make some sort of alert from there. Then VPE, this is personalized product recommendations that generates this particular time. These are the customers that need help. So what is the content of today? It's actually PPE, personalized pricing engine. That's the recent work. Others we've already developed and working for a while, like more than 1 to 3 years, each of it. So before you get to understand PPE, personalized pricing engine, you might like to understand that a product structure, how like a fashion product structure looks like. But I didn't go through it all of it, so I should actually tell a bit. What is very important, it's not for me, or as well as I always talk about it when I'm talking for the data science community, to thinking more like product perspective, because we data scientists always think that, okay, fine, I am data scientist, I need to make a good, cool model, and this model needs to give really, really, really good accuracy on a training set. But business is quite different, right? Business has their business own running philosophy, principles, and they are running it successfully more than decades, like 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. So their mindset is still the way they think that works. So what you want to achieve is that these new solutions, new tools, AI, ML, whatever we want to talk about it, it will help them. So how it will help them? You need to bring it in that level. It shouldn't be. When we talk with business, we never talk about accuracy. We never talk about how cool AI or how cool our model is. It's all about how end user, like this can be a business analyst. This can be just a person that do planning. This can be a person that is a merchandiser. So how they are actually seeing the interface coming out from your data product, coming from your ML model, and if they're trying to make sense out of it. So for that, so end-to-end perspective is very important. Thinking about from day one, we will always think that, okay, fine, if my model works, then I will productionize it. I will think about what kind of end user interface I have to design, I have to build. But my recommendation is to think from day one that how end user will benefit out of your AI model. What is the interface? How they will work with your model. So that's why it's like the whole, when we start developing, we do proper product description, try to see each of the dependency and try to make sure that we have holistic view, we have big picture, as well as we have all the tech that need to be done. We understand that. So for example, when we're dealing with the pricing engine, there is one common problem is that you have like millions of customers and you do personalized pricing for them, and you have thousands of products, thousands of SKUs. So when you want to do some sort of indexing among this volume of data, then of course you will hit up with the scalability issue and how you want to deal with it. So I think that, okay, fine, Elasticsearch might be good to finding the tuples that's the proper hit for today. So in this way, you need to figuring out how you can actually make sure that, okay, fine, end user who are not a data scientist or data engineer, how they can have a interface for your product with secure, proper security in place. So, okay, fine, you can use the common login that they used to use within the organization. So it's like thinking from a more product perspective is very, very, very important. Now going back to product structure. So it's a kind of fun to build a model for fashion products, because you have like a different structure or hierarchy, and you can actually deal it with it differently. So you can sometimes make a YAML that can actually recommend what kind of subclass that you want to buy, or what kind of subclass that you need to discount, or you can make it on a style level, meaning that which brand within that particular subclass you are actually looking for. You can go on a variant level, which color is actually you are going to discount, or you can also even think about SKU level, meaning that like size, fit. So figuring out like how much data you have available in your system, that is very important, and then you can actually think about how you want to build a model. So the model we are building for personalized pricing, it's not super fancy. It's just a gradient boosted tree, and we are using BigQuery ML. Why BigQuery ML? Because that scales. That's then you can actually train the models within seconds while you are using terabytes of data. So that's take away that scalability problem. But at the same time, you can create hundreds of models within a couple of seconds using that scalability. So what we are doing, we are actually creating model for each of the subclass. For example, your buying behavior of jeans quite different in combination. So your buying behavior of t-shirts. So maybe 20% discount is good for you when you are buying a jeans, because you know that you're going to spend like £200 to buy a jeans. So 20% still means £40 savings. But when buying a t-shirt is £30, £50 is like 30% or 40%, even doesn't make sense. So that's like quite a bit of interesting that you can also see that like a different subclass level, different type of accuracy. And when we are actually making this prediction caps, we're using the bucket with the different discount groups. So if you see in general, like it looks quite good in terms of recommendation accuracy. The jeans, when you see that the model able to find with 93% accuracy that the people doesn't need a discount, which is really cool, right? You don't need to bombast them with heavy discounting offers, while they will always go to buying and buy full price product. In the same way, like this group, 85% you get accuracy. Who needs a really discount? Who buy discounted like when the product is really on a heavy discount? So asking them to buy on a full price doesn't make that sense. So it's from a model accuracy perspective, it looks good. And when you see that number of samples in each of the groups is also quite significant. It's not like you try it within just a small test set. So going back to end-to-end, so this is like some sort of end-user interface where you can actually use different filters. Okay, fine, you wanted to identify do some personalized pricing for your jeans subclass. You wanted to figuring out which of your jeans need some sort of support, and you have all those product listing. So when you pick up the product, then you get the segments that, okay, fine, you have, well, let's say 60 customers that's usually going to buy this product with full price. You can send this offer with full price to them. You don't need to talk about the discount to them who really like to buy with full price product, but you can share the beauty of the product, why they should buy it. And the ones who like the discount, you give them discount. So in this way, you can generate the campaign just on the fly, and everything should work. But in reality, there's a lot of other steps that you need to do. For example, how you can actually commercialize these values in different sales point. That is a tech problem. And in this way, also like some KPI works. So these are the things that we are now working on. So in general, yeah, think product perspective, even though you are a great data scientist. But at the end of the day, it's your product that matters. On that note, end-to-end is important. Cloud first, because that's current and that's future. And last thing, my boss always talk about measurement. So what's the value? What is the value? How much value it's creating, both from a customer perspective as well as business perspective. Yeah, with all that, thank you very much.